Neighbors in one southern tier community say that they're on edge tonight. A killer who once targeted their town out of prison, now on parole. People in Salamanca are worried that Edward Kindt could come back 24 years after he murdered Penny Brown. New York's Department of Corrections say it released Kindt from the Elmira prison this morning. It is unclear where he will begin his parole. DOC records list Cattaraugus County, but State Senator George Borrello says authorities brought him to Dutchess County. 7 News senior reporter Eileen Buckley spent the day in Salamanca talking with neighbors about the emotions that come with a day like today.
That was a terrible crime that he committed, and how can he be released?
The Salamanca community is reeling over the release of Edward Kindt. The New York State Department of Corrections announced Thursday morning that Kindt left the Elmira Correctional Facility and is in Dutchess County. That's more than 5 hours from Salamanca. But Salamanca Mayor Sandy McGuire tells me her community is still very worried Kindt could eventually return.
That's what most people here are worried about. We don't want him back here. We don't want him in our city. But how do you keep him away?
It was on Mother's Day of 1999 when 39-year-old Penny Brown went jogging with her 2 dogs along an area of the Pennsy Trail in Salamanca. Kindt, who was 15 years old at the time, raped and murdered her. But after serving 24 years, the state parole board decided he served his time. The mayor says Kindt's mother still lives on the Seneca Nation, but the Senecas have already banned him from their territory.
If he does come back, what happens? Who removes him from the territory?
That killer has to be a monster.
The president of the Salamanca Area Senior Center tells me he never wants the convicted killer back in his community.
Would you want him in your neighborhood? I don't. I had a house that I rented which was next door to where he lived. I don't know the fella. I don't want to know the fella.
And the mayor tells me she remembers well when Penny Brown was murdered on this walking path and how deeply it affected her family and this community.
That's where my first thoughts was to her parents, because her parents had tried so hard to keep Ed into prison, for so many years, letter writing and campaigning to keep him there. So that's where my first thoughts went to.
Eileen Buckley, 7 News, Salamanca.